19 is up there. You see it? It says, then they said to one another, look, this dreamer is coming. Come therefore, let us now kill him and cast him into some pit, and we shall say, some wild beast has devoured him. We shall see what will become of his dreams. But Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, let us not kill him. And Reuben said to them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit which is in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him, that he might deliver him out of their hands and bring him back to his father. Right? Flip over to chapter 41. Chapter 41. And we're going to read the 41st verse. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall be ruled according to your word. Only in regard to the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt. Will you do me a favor? Give your neighbor my topic. Say, neighbor. Neighbor. Come on, talk like you got the Holy Ghost. Say, neighbor. Neighbor. The pit. Prepare me for the promise. Come on, y'all. Look at somebody else. The pit prepared me for the promise. Amen. Listen, fact of the matter is, this generation of believers don't know how, we don't know how to respond to trouble. This generation of believers, I ain't talking about nobody. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. But there's a generation coming up that we are afraid to let the world know who we are. We are afraid to let the world know whose side we're on. And because we are afraid to let the world know whose side we're on, when trouble comes knocking at our door, we don't know how to respond. You got more folk in church killing themselves. Come on now. But you're supposed to have power. You got more folk leaving the church because of petty stuff like she rolled her eyes at me. Pastor didn't speak to me today. The choir director didn't let me sing my song. And it's time for us to grow past foolishness. Y'all ain't talking about, I'm gonna preach it like I feel it. The fact of the matter is, when you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, there is a power that should have enveloped you. There is a holy boldness that should have overtaken your life. That when trouble comes to your life, let me stop right there for just a second and let you know, trouble will come. We've been fooled into thinking that once you get saved, you ain't got to deal with no trouble, no sickness, no problem. But that's a lie. From the picture head. As when you get saved, it does not exempt you from trouble, but it gives you a remedy to trouble. It lets you know how to deal with trouble. Now, one thing we don't like to do, we don't like to go through anything. We feel like because I danced, because I shouted, because I spoke in tongues, I'm all right. But what you don't know is that there's a target for the devil. Because when he sees you walking in your purpose, it's his job to knock you off course. I wish I had a praying church here. When the devil sees that you're really walking in power, that's a sign to him that you're closer to your destiny. And the devil can't afford to get you to let you get to your destiny. Why? I'm glad you asked. Because he knows that once you get delivered for real, your whole family get delivered. See, y'all don't like it, because I and some stuff that God said you are supposed to have. And the devil's job is to keep you from getting it. The good thing about you all is, some of you have already figured out who you are in Christ. But it was much bigger than you expected. You knew you were called to preach, but you didn't know all this was involved with it. You thought that because you accepted your call and you doing what the Lord said do, the folk were going to leave you alone. Now they lying on you. Now they're talking about you. And they won't leave you alone. Because the fact of the matter is, the devil's job is to get you off course. Am I talking good yet? Yeah. The devil's job is to get you off track. Because he can afford to let you get to your destiny. I got something for you. And I'm trying to get this to you as fast as I can. I ain't got much to say. But when we look at our text, background lets us know that Joseph's parents, to give you a little background, of course, Jacob and Rachel, and since Jacob had Joseph in his old age and he was Rachel's firstborn, he was the favorite. And the Bible lets us know that his brothers hated him because he was the favorite. Read on, let us know that his daddy gave him a coat of many colors. Bible lets us know that they hated him even the more. Then text lets us know that Joseph started having dreams about having dominion over his brothers. And he messed around and told his brothers about his dream. And the Bible says they hated him the more. I want you to know the pattern. The pattern is not people on the outside hating him. Here it is. But the pattern is, it's folk on the inside that will do you wrong too. We get upset because folk in church act a certain way. Well, I don't trip about it no more because I know that the church is full of unstable people. Let me give you like this. The church is full of inconsistent people. All right, I know they don't talk about folk here at Wiley. They don't lie. They don't spread rumors. They don't put stuff on Facebook and Twitter. They don't Instagram pictures about you and stuff. But let me tell you what they do back at Monroe. Dr. Burns, folk like to talk about me. I don't know nobody. I just try to mind my own business. And there's a select few folk that like to tell folk that I'm fake. He's fake. It don't take all that hollering. It don't take all that shouting. Why every church he go to, he got to do all that dancing. And my disclaimer is, if you know that I'm a praiser and you don't like it, why invite me? See, I wish y'all would help me preach, because y'all being kind of bougie tonight, like folk don't talk about you. So, it's about me. So, somebody came to one of the programs that we had, and she just sat back there and mean mug the whole time. That's bad. Every time I start dancing, because I dance by myself, I really don't care. You know, y'all can sit there, and if I feel like it's going to make the devil mad, I'll haul off and start dancing in the middle of my sermon. Just to make the devil mad. She's sitting back there the whole time with her group. I just don't understand. Why I gotta do all this hollering? Why I gotta do all this shouting? Why I gotta do all this rolling on the floor? Why I gotta prophesy to all these folks? He's supposed to be Baptist. Baptist folk don't do all that stuff. What? See, y'all act like y'all ain't heard that before, but I'm gonna keep preaching. Why I gotta do all that stuff? And I asked the question. The question that I asked, can I just talk to y'all? The question I asked was, who's really the fake one? Am I fake for dancing and shouting everywhere I go? Or are you the fake one for telling folk you don't like me, but still coming to my program? Are you the fake one for telling folk it don't take all that, but as soon as I look at you, you start bucking and shouting in the corner, and it takes 4 ushers to get you off that baby that you fell off? Get off that baby. You got to look at and see who's really inconsistent. Am I the one that's inconsistent for dancing and being consistent in my praise? don't like. Okay, since y'all don't understand me, let me bring it to your door. You know, the girl that always hanging around you, she always hanging around you, but as soon as you leave, she got something negative to say about you. So I heard somebody, see, they ain't here, but somebody listen, they in here, I know they are, I'm looking at you. I ain't scared, you run up if you want, this mic is a weapon. The fact of the matter is that Marcus, they run, flip their keyboard over and just tackle them, get them. The fact of the matter is that people will connect themselves to you not because they love you, but they want inside information to see how to abort your destiny. That's why it's so important that you can't tell everybody what God has shown you. I missed about 16 of y'all. I said it's important for you to understand that you can't tell everybody everything God showed you. Can I just go ahead and take it a step further? Because I see some stuff in the spirit, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. You have to disconnect yourself from dream killers. Disconnect yourself from dream killers. Can I go ahead and be real? You ain't gotta tell me to come back, it's cool. I'm gonna be real. When you connect yourself to folk and you convicted after service, and you say, you know what? I think I'm gonna stop having sex. It got quiet right there. I knew it was. I knew it was. That's why I got an amen calling in my head. And right when you say you're gonna stop it, you tell him, hey girl, that church stuff overrated. And so you start compromising with your calling. You start compromising with holiness. Y'all don't like me today, but it's good. It's good preaching. I'm getting happy on my own preaching. You start compromising with holiness. And then come to the altar. I slipped and fell. No, you didn't fall. You laid down. Some of y'all laid down 2-3 times. Say your name and get yourself up. Get up, get up. Dream killers are people who don't want you to succeed. Dream killers are people who every time you say something that you want to do with your life, they'll always say something negative. I think I'm gonna open my own business. God wants you to open your own business, but you broke. Cut off. Because misery, y'all must know some miserable people. Misery loves company. I know I'm preaching good. Now, you have to disconnect yourself from people who will kill your dreams. Because if you connect yourself with folk that'll kill your dreams, not only will they kill your dreams, but they'll try to take your joy. Now here you are saying you saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, and fire baptized, but now you're depressed. You're connected to the wrong. Now I know I'm preaching. Let me deal with the text. One day, Joseph told his brothers about the dream. Yeah, they got mad. Now let us know that one day, while they were in the field, Joseph decided to go check on his brothers. And when they saw him coming, they said, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get rid of him. Because I'm about sick of his stuff. See, Joseph was as innocent as they could. But the fact that he had a dream, the fact that he had a vision, made those around him upset. Now watch this. I'm going to say this, and after I say this, I'm going to rush on. I see home on the face. I'm going to say this. Just walk with me. They already hating on you, and you ain't got nothing. Yeah. I miss it. I'm gonna talk to y'all over here. So they just sit there looking at me like, yes, sir. I said, you ain't even got nothing yet. I like y'all. And they already hating on you. Say it again. Let me rewind this. They are already hating on you, and you ain't even got nothing yet. you. I can't stand what he washing his car for. Because if God can trust me with what I have, I wish I had the right church in here. If God can trust me with what I have, he can trust me with something better. I dare ask 3 people, can God trust you? Because you don't want to offend anybody. Yep, I'm eating up the dollar menu, but it ain't stopping my shout. I got a good praise in, and I got a good meal. I dare you talk to me in here. I dare you touch your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I ain't there yet, but I see it coming. I see it coming. I see it coming. I see it coming. You missed the text. You missed what I said. Saw Joseph coming and got mad. You hear what I'm saying? They saw him coming. He ain't said nothing. He ain't did nothing. He ain't asked no questions. He was just making his arrival. And folk got mad because he was on his way to the sea. Can I go ahead and give you the revelation? Because I'm from a holler working on me now. Folk are mad at you because you ain't there yet, but they see your vision before they see you. They see your potential before you even hit the scene. And you wonder why folk that you don't even know don't like you, because they saw it. Your vision was so big that your vision made the arrival before you did. And then you prophesy to 3 people, I got big things gonna happen in my life. See, y'all done said, tell somebody at the Holy Ghost, there's some big things gonna pop up in my life any day now. Y'all sit down, y'all making me preach. When I was pastoring in Winsboro, it was a little small town, little country town. And folk didn't know who I was, Dr. Burns. They only heard about me. They didn't know who I was. I was in McDonald's one day, just minding my business. You know how most preachers do, we done preach and holler. I'm home, give me some nuggets or something. Walked in McDonald's, minding my own business, sitting in line, praying. I already said grace. That's how hungry I was. I ain't even ordered my food yet. Now I already said the grace. Lord, whatever I order, bless it. And make it multiply. Because big man hungry today. I ain't got much money, but I know you got all power. I'm praying on this food. You took 2 fish? Elijah, both of them sitting there. So I heard somebody, they're talking. And you heard that new vision got a new pastor girl. I'm just sitting there, ain't saying nothing to nobody. I ain't making myself nothing. They say he loud. They say he done turned that Baptist church sanctified. And they're talking, and just talking in noise. They ain't saying nothing. I was getting kind of flattered because the stuff that they thought was negative is stuff I want to do anyway. Y'all done miss me. You have to understand that stuff that people say about you, it's not what they say, it's how you perceive it. It's how you, thank you, sweet preacher. You're going to help me today. I'm going to throw you this mic after a while. It's how you perceive what they say. Y'all, it made me so sick. Folks talk about some good I heard she used to be. And there ain't nothing to get mad about. The fact that you used to be is a sign that you ain't there. And then you look at somebody and say, you used to be too. You used to. And if your neighbor can't get excited about being a used to be, then it might be a still is. Still out, whatever it is. You still in your mess. Tell your neighbor, I thank God I used to be. All right. Do the text. So, third sermon. My first sermon was, I done lost my mind. That was my first sermon. I done lost my mind. Scripture was, let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus. Now I talked about how it's time for the church to lose their mind. It wasn't nothing deep, it wasn't nothing heavy. I praise God about it. Because the reason it's time for us to lose our mind is because the way we think about ourselves does not match what God thinks about us. See, I told them this morning, it was pretty good, so I'm going to give it to y'all. I'm going to ride up out of here. I told them that out of all the rumors they can say about you, don't nobody have as much dirt on you than you do. Your neighbor can spread all kind of rumors, but they can't compare to the dirt you got on yourself. If your neighbor knew half the stuff you did, they wouldn't want to sit next to you. If you knew half the stuff I did, you'd probably get up and walk out. And if I knew half the stuff you did, I'd probably stop preaching and leave. Because what I'm saying, we all used to be. And the fact of the matter is that because we have so much dirt on ourselves, it's impossible to think about ourselves the way God does. Because in our eyes, we tore up from the floor up, we messed up from the neck up. Ain't no good in us. But God sees something greater in you. I wish somebody get excited right there. Encourage your neighbor, tell them greater look good on you. See, now if you sit next to somebody that didn't say nothing, you better move because they want you to stay in that same situation. Greater looks good on you. Right, let me keep moving. So Joseph was on his way to meet his brothers, see how they were doing, see what was going on in the field. And while he was walking out there, they started plotting to kill him. They made a plan. We're going to throw him in this pit and we'll come back and kill him. We're going to kill him. And there's a brother there, Reuben, who talked them out of killing him. Just throw him in the pit, leave him alone. Because Reuben's plan was to let them go do their thing. He was going to come back and get him and take him to his dad. But they had a better plan for him. They sold him. And he wound up sold into slavery. Right. Now he's in a man named Potiphar's house. And he was working in Potiphar, doing this thing in Potiphar's house, and favor found him where he was. He was in slavery. Now he found favor in Potiphar's house. Now he's in charge of Potiphar's household. Come on now. He said, the only way, he said, I trust you so much that you have say so in my house. Yeah. One day Potiphar was out doing whatever Potiphar do, and Potiphar's wife got a little lust in her eye. She started looking at him. Y'all come on in. I want to help you tonight. Potiphar's wife started looking at him. Hey man, come here. He said, come here. Bible says that Potiphar's wife wanted to lay with Joseph. Won't let me no sleeping going on. Right. Joseph did like most of us saved, sanctified men who said no the first time. Y'all better come on in here today. I went that deep. That's right. He said no. And she got a little forceful. Joseph looked like, girl, why are you so strong? She tried to force herself on Joseph. And this is a word my mom and my dad and my grandmother used. She latched on to his jacket. She latched on. You know, she didn't just grab it. When you latched on, she wrapped up and she latched on. And said, boy, you ain't going nowhere. Joseph was like, Lord, you got to help me because if you don't. And Joseph came out his coat and took off running. She got so mad. When Potiphar got mad, she done made up this lie. Talking about, he tried to rape me. That's what she said. He tried to rape me. Got that boy in trouble. Now, I had to stop there and ask a question. I asked this question because I knew that some of the people that going to ask this question as well. If he was doing, and if he was in the will of God, and if there was favor on him, why is it that he had to go to prison? And that's a good question to ask, because a lot of us, we get frustrated because we're doing right, but still going through. We're doing good, but we're still going through. Now, it brings me to the close of my sermon. I'm going to give you this. He rejected her while he was in prison. Joseph found favor by interpreting dreams, and eventually he became the ruler of Egypt. Now, my question is, the question was, why is it that he got in trouble when he was supposed to be in the will of God? Can I answer that question for you? It's my first point. The vision, the promise was prophesied, but the process was not prophesied. They'll give you the promise, but you don't know what the process involved. A lot of us shout off of the promise without thinking about the process.
That's right. Teach us.
The process is what develops you for the promise. The process is what develops you for the promise. Some of y'all in here, God gave you a promise. You're going to be a millionaire. But you didn't know you had to go through this broke period. They prophesied the promise, but not the process. But the process is nothing to get upset about, because the process will work in your favor. Y'all don't like it. The process is really working in your favor. If you jump from the prophecy straight to the promise, you won't appreciate the promise when you get there. If you jump straight from the prophecy to the promise, you will do any and everything when you reach your promised land. That's why God has to allow you to go through the process, because the process is what smooths out the rough edges. Some of y'all wouldn't pray if you didn't have to go through the process. Some of y'all wouldn't come to church if you didn't have to go through the process. Some of y'all wouldn't praise and worship if you didn't have to go through the process. The process doesn't feel good, but it will work out for the good. I said the process does not feel good, but it works out for the good. I know God promised you some stuff, but you didn't think you'd be in your dorm crying over somebody that left you. God, you didn't tell me about this heartbreak, because if I would have told you about the process, then you would have aborted your promise. If I would have told you what you were going to have to deal with, you probably wouldn't go through. So that's why I can't tell you everything that's involved in your process, because I have to make sure you get to the promise. Didn't prophesy he prophesied the promise, but he didn't prophesy the process. Number two, it was a good thing, right? Favor will follow you. Even though you are in a tough situation, it does not mean that you're not favored by God. Just because you're in a place now, you don't understand why you're in that place, it does not mean that God's hand is not on you. It just means that you have to trust in God when you don't see the outcome. You have to trust in God when you don't see how this thing is going to work out. And favor is having the hand of God on your life when you can't feel his hand or see his hand. There's some things that God is keeping from getting to you because you are favored by God. But it does not exempt you from pain. Come here, Mary. You know who Mary is, don't you? She had a baby. What was his name? Oh, I thought y'all were going to sit that she was going to have to watch her child be crucified. She didn't know she was going to have to watch her child go through so much pressure. But she was faithful. So my question for you tonight is, can you really handle the favor? Because everybody walking around now, how you doing? Oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. But my question to you is, can you really handle true favor? Ask your neighbor that, can you handle the favor? Now the last point is, one, the prophet did not reveal the process. Number two, favor followed him. Number three, pit was only temporary. The pit was only temporary. Man that is born of a woman is of a few days, but it's full of trouble. But the good news about the saints of God going through trouble is when you come out of it, you won't be empty-handed. There's a lesson in the valley. There's a lesson in the fact that you went through and you came out, and not only did you come out, but you came out a survivor. The devil didn't expect some of y'all to make it. The devil expected you to lose your mind. The devil expected you to have a pity party. Because everybody else that you know that dealt with what you dealt with, they lost their mind. I wish I had somebody praying. Everybody else that dealt with what you dealt with, somebody else committed suicide. Somebody else didn't make it out of that last situation in their right mind. I want you to do a self-evaluation and look over your own life and just give God some glory because you made it. I wish somebody here just holler out, I made it, I made it, I made it. The last situation, it looked like it was going to kill you. I know you sat up and cried. You kept blowing your best friend's phone up, talking about, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't think I'm going to make it through. But oh, somehow, some way, God sent somebody to let you know that everything was going to be all right. Are y'all praying here with me? Now, I need you to do me a favor. I'm getting ready to go back to Monroe. But touch your neighbor, say, neighbor. Y'all too quiet. I said, holler at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I know you went through some stuff. Say, neighbor, I know it didn't feel good. But I sat next to you to let you know that it worked out for all the good. And I came to tell somebody here tonight that whenever you go through, you got to learn that the Lord will see you through. And I got a witness in here. Anybody here know that when you go through, you ain't got to worry about coming out, because the Bible said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, but thou art with me. Did you hear what I said? He said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, ain't no need for me to worry about nothing, because I got Jesus walking with me. I got Jesus talking with me. I got somebody whispering in my ear, let me know that everything is going to be all right. Grab your neighbor hand and shake that neighbor hand and say, neighbor, God told me to tell you that everything to kill you. The process didn't come to take you out, but the process came to take you up. I wish somebody here would get excited because I just said the process did not come to take you out, but the process, it only came to take you up. I need you to prophesy to your neighbor and say, neighbor, I need to prophesy and let you know that anything now, things are getting ready to turn around. Y'all didn't get happy. I said anything now, things are getting ready to turn around. I can see